You did your master's in Australia?
I
Is
did.
that right? So Master of Arts in Journalism and Mass Communication from Griffith
Yes.
University on the Gold Coast.
You have done your research.
I have. I've never been to Australia, though.
Oh.
And I hear great things. Although, does everything bite you? Because even the people I've heard sometimes, well...
Listen, yes, it is a terrifying place to live. I was there for 2 years while I was getting my master's degree. It was awesome. I mean, it's warm all year round. I was 5 minutes away from the beach. Awesome time, probably one of the best times of my life. But yeah, there's a lot of terrifying things there. So, I mean, there were times I almost walked through tarantula webs.
Oh, great.
There was a time a king brown snake was trying to get into the house I was staying at, and a king brown is one of the most deadly snakes on the planet. It was 6 feet long.
It's insane.
Yep. My friend at the time had to hit it with a bat because we did have kids at the house I was staying at, so it was just too dangerous to risk it.
I heard a story the other day. Someone was on a talk show and they said that it was a celebrity and they were getting out of a limo somewhere in Australia and they just stepped on a giant python.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Just like it was normal. Oh yeah, that was Tuesday.
You know what?
You know?
Every house in Australia has a python pillowcase.
Oh.
So when you get a python in your house, you just pop it in the old pillowcase, throw it out the front door. The most deadly thing in Australia, though, is the jellyfish, the box jellyfish.
Really?
Yeah. So there's certain areas on the coast where you can't go swimming without a water suit on to protect yourself.
Oh, wow.
So if it's not, on the land,
Yeah.
it's something in the water that can kill you.
Well, apart from...
Welcome to Australia.
Yeah, it says all of that on the welcome sign.
Yes.
It's got to read the fine print. Where's the Gold Coast? Like, what city were you living in?
The Gold Coast is just about an hour south of Brisbane.
Okay.
And it's definitely a university city. There's a lot of schools in the area, so it's a very young crowd, party town for sure. Lots of surfing, great surfing at Surfers Paradise, hence the name. Living there was so laid back.
Right.
When I finished school, I decided to stay for an extra year, and I was waitressing at the time. And I remember a day in the life would be something like I'd get up, I'd go for a run, I'd walk down the street to the neighborhood restaurant, I'd serve for 5 hours.
Nice.
Then I'd go to my boyfriend's house at the time, who lived right around the corner from that. We'd make a big dinner. And then
Sounds
I'd
pretty good.
go to sleep and maybe go to the beach the next day.
Yeah.
It was so relaxing.
That's great.
It really was. There's a lot of things that when I came back, I didn't realize I'd adapted to. For example, there's no tax on anything. Taxes. So I remember I was buying something at a gift shop here in Toronto the first week I was back, and they said, okay, the price is this. And I said, well, the tag says this. And the woman was like, tax? I was like, oh, cool. Right. Little things like that were a bit of a transition, but
nice.
It was honestly the best time of my life.
Oh, that's great. That's great to hear. Can you do an Aussie accent or no?
All right, mate. Do you want some shrimp on the barbie? I'm hearing a lot of laughter. See, it always goes... It starts Australian and goes very quickly into a strange British accent.
Yeah,
so I just try not to do that.
Right.
Yeah, I'm so sorry you had to hear that.
No, I was great. I'm going to use that as the promo.
Great. I hope you do. You will get
Drake Mackey here, the Australian.
One viewer.
Yeah, totally. Who has influenced you the most?
First of all, I have to say my parents.
Yeah.
I mean, my parents growing up said, you can do anything you want. If you put the work in, you'll get there. And at a very young age, I said, well, I'm going to be on TV. And they said, well, yeah, you will if you work at it. And here I am now. I worked really hard at that.
Yeah.
So my parents were huge supports. I mean, anything I aspired to do, they were my biggest cheerleaders. And they still are to this day.
That's good to have that support coming from home, right?
It's huge.
It's hard when, certain people choose a certain career and they know kind of deep down that their parents wish that they became a lawyer or something, like that's tough to deal with because you always kind of hold that with you.
And I know that if I could honestly do anything and my parents would be happy for me as long as I was happy.
That's great.
I truly know and believe that. That's the most important thing for my parents was making sure their two girls were happy.
Right.
And I would say in terms of people I aspire to, I really look at someone like Jesse Cruikshank,
Yes.
Canadian media
Great.
personality.
You two are very similar, actually, now that you mention that.
I love her.
Yeah.
I love her humor. I love how real she is. She's not afraid to, go on TV without makeup, without being all dolled up, and just be entirely herself. She was on MTV for years. Then she was on CBC The Goods. And then she decided, you know what? I'm just going to create my own thing. And she started a Facebook show, New Mom Who Dis.
Yeah, right.
Inevitably, she was one of the only people to nail an interview with Justin Trudeau during his campaign.
I saw that, yes.
On that Facebook show.
Yeah, she's had a lot of segments, and I haven't watched too many things, but she's had a lot of segments where, like, real serious topics are discussed in her very own creative way. Yeah. And that is really inspiring to me. To get Trudeau after the whole brown face thing,
right?
To have kids asking about that, I mean, that's kind of like a once in a, like, really? Like, that happens? That's something to put on the resume.
And Mike, it goes back to what we were talking about, like, I really do think the future of broadcasting, the future of journalism is you being yourself. Someone like Jesse Cruikshank can talk about serious issues in a relatable way because she is just authentic.
Right.
And I look at that and I think that's so amazing. And I have such a crush on her in so many ways. She's just wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.